I grew up with nothing. No money, no connections, and definitely no property. And today I run a luxury Airbnb business across the UAE and the UK without owning a single property. No rich parents, no investors, no massive loans to get me to this point. And the craziest part about this all is that only a couple of years ago, I didn't know any of this was possible. I grew up in a council estate in Dublin city centre, where nobody was talking about business, property, or anything like that. Even the idea of university was laughed at. Most people were just trying to get by and make ends meet. Success was not even an option. None of that felt realistic. So for the vast majority of my life, I thought the only way to get money was to get yourself a normal job and slave away and work your way up to eventually maybe get a decent wage. But from as young as I can remember, I knew I wanted more, and I knew I wasn't made for that life. The problem was I had no starting point. I had no savings, no experience. I didn't know anyone that was super successful or any business people. And I definitely couldn't afford to buy a property. But about 3 years ago, I came across a method called rent to rent. And this is what completely changed everything for me. Because at that moment, I realized you don't need to own property to actually make money from it. You can control or manage it. And once I understood that, everything else started to make sense. So let me explain this in the simplest way possible. Rent to rent is basically you renting a property from a landlord on a long-term lease with the agreement that you can run it as a short-term rental and list it on platforms such as Airbnb and Booking.com. You pay the landlord a guaranteed rent every month. You cover the costs, you get professional cleaning, and even cover maintenance. And whatever is left over is your profit. So for example, if you rent a property for £1,200 a month and the property brings in £3,000 worth of revenue on Airbnb bookings, after all your expenses are paid, you're probably going to be left with about £800 to £1,000 a month of clean profit just from the one property. And remember, you didn't buy this. You didn't take out massive loan to start. You didn't take out a mortgage. You just simply used the correct strategy for your current situation. That was the moment I realized this could actually change my life. Now, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say it was easy, because it definitely wasn't. It was a very difficult thing to implement from the beginning without any knowledge, guidance, or even a mentor. My first few attempts were rough. I got ignored, I got rejected, landlords telling me no, many doubts going on in my head whether this was the right path for me. And most people would have stopped there. But I just kept thinking, if there's other people actually doing this, why can't I? What's stopping me from doing it? And then eventually I got my first yes. And I knew, okay, I've cracked the code. This actually works. Now that first deal was this day 2 years ago. And it didn't make me rich, but it gave me proof that this actually works. And once you get the proof that this works, your confidence completely changes. So I simply just repeated the process time and time again. You fail, you learn, you improve, and you just repeat that process. Keep trying and trying and trying, and then you get another deal. And you just repeat the exact same process, rinse and repeat. And over time, it begins to stack. Those £800 to £1,000 profit months on one property start to compound when you have 3, 6, 10 plus properties. And I'm saying this because I know somebody watching this is going to be in the exact same position I was only a couple of years ago. No money, no direction, no opportunities around you, no connections, and definitely no belief that you could get into property without owning any. And the thing about it is, I used to think like that too. But the truth is, most people just never learn the game. It's not about where you start, it's about what you learn. If you can learn how to speak to landlords, how to find the correct profitable deals, and how to set up properties the correct way so that guests are dying to book them, you can build this. Anyone can build this. The biggest mistake I made was thinking I needed money first. It's like the fallacy that people think they need to get in shape before joining the gym. You don't. You just need knowledge first. The money comes after. Don't worry too much about the money. Obviously, as a business person, we're all about our margins and our profits. But you need to have the correct knowledge and understanding of this business model before you focus all on the money. Because once you have the correct implementations, the systems, and everything in place, the money will come. It's only a matter of time. The biggest thing I want people to understand that this wasn't luck. It wasn't from me knowing the right people. It wasn't from some secret opportunity that's only available to a select type of people. This was me simply deciding I wasn't going to stay stuck anymore. That point in 2023, when everything happened to me, I found out my mom had cancer, I had a son on the way, I just finished my university degree, and I was wondering what's next. When I came across this business model, I thought I was trying to get it. I was convinced myself I was working hard towards building the business. I wasn't. I was putting in 10%, if even. But when all of these events occurred, it switched up in my brain that I need to go and take action. And it was this day 2 years ago, I got the keys to my first unit in downtown Dubai, a 2-bedroom facing the Burj Khalifa, that I still have today, but it's actually on a revenue share model now, so I don't even pay any bills. That's what happens when you build up relationships and have a good understanding of the market. You can switch and change the business model when you have experience. But the reality for most people watching this video now is that you're going to stay in the same position as yesterday, last month, last year, because you never seriously tried to change your circumstances. You'll watch, you'll overthink, you'll research, And you'll convince yourself that you're actually doing work just like I did in 2023. But when you're actually real with yourself, you'll understand that that's not true work. You're not going to get any closer to your goals or actually starting this business by over consuming content. I wasn't the smartest person doing this. There's much more sharper people out there than me. I know that. Again, there's people out there much more experienced than me, and I'm doing better than them now. The difference is when things became uncomfortable, I was willing to keep going. And I can attest that to where I grew up, my childhood, my fighting career as an MMA fighter, these lessons that I learned through these things. I just had no quit in me. But it was something different about this business model. There was something about this that I knew I wasn't going to give up, no matter what. Especially with the current situation in Dubai. Everyone is quitting. Everyone is giving up. How can I give up when I've came this far? So that was the difference between me and most people that started this business, that I've seen over the years, give up, fail, and not get back up and wipe themselves off and keep going. The people who succeeded just stayed in the game longer. They just didn't give up. They had no quit in them. That's the only difference. And that's what you need to have in this business. That grit, that I don't give a fuck what happens. I'm not giving up. There's no way I'm quitting. You need to have that inside you to build a successful business, especially in the Airbnb business. Because your first deal will be the hardest part, simply because it's completely new to you. It's foreign. You're not going to know how to speak to landlords. You're not even going to know how to do proper deal analysis or understand if a deal is profitable or not. You won't know how to set up apartments, how to get bookings, anything. Everything will feel confusing at the start. But once you get your first deal over the line, you have now proof that this works, and you can use that to replicate again and again and again. And it simply just becomes a system rather than guesswork. That's when all the pieces of puzzles come together and it starts to feel like a business instead of just a crazy idea. I wouldn't even call this a property business. I just call this a problem-solving business. To be good in this business, you need to be able to solve problems fast in real time. Come up with good solutions, but speed is everything in this business. Landlords don't care about your background. All they care about is, can they trust you to pay rent on time, look after their property, and will you or whoever's in the property cause them any problems? If you can solve these problems, you can get deals very easily. It's as simple as that. If this video helped you understand what's possible, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, because I'm going to start breaking down more of the real side of the business. Not the fake lifestyle stuff, the actual process, the actual numbers, the mistakes, and everything in between. I appreciate you watching. Drop a like if this helped. If I can build this starting where I started, then you're a lot closer than you think. I'll see you in the next video.